Hi everyone, I'm Mike Gorham. Welcome back to my perfect playthrough of Lemmings. Last time we completed the fun difficulty setting, and just to show it, here are the levels. This is proof that I completed all 30 of these levels. Right there. Unfortunately, that doesn't unlock every level for every difficulty, so I still have to work on the tricky stages. This is one of the repeats I mentioned. One of the few levels that repeat over and over again. So even though this is a level that we worked on the fun difficulty, the difference is we have to contend with 40 of these guys now. Same trick applies. I caused the first one to dig, and I caused the second one to dig while the first one is, so the first one moves. And there's like that little tiny little ledge that all the lemmings will fall on top of before falling further. That way, none of them die. Now let's on to level 2. A ladder would be nice. Alright. So, here's my strategy. Just get a bunch of two blockers and then max on the lemmings down there. My priority as far as what I should focus on is building this bridge. And by the way, the reason why I actually have to max out on the lemmings here, so I don't have any situation where they just start dying because I dig a hole too deep. I have to be careful when digging a hole because it's possible they'll just go the opposite direction, but that's fine. If you end up bashing in the wrong direction with the digger lemming, you could just assign them the builder status, and they'll turn their asses around. Honestly, it's for this reason that the question then arises, what about sequence breaks and doing things that the game very clearly doesn't intend for you to do? Well, Lemmings is a game that basically encourages a ton of creative liberties on how you best to solve these puzzles. Sometimes they only have one true solution. I'm gonna nuke these two blockers since there's no longer any point keeping them around. I believe this level will repeat eventually, and when it does, I reckon I would have to save every single lemming. That will be a nightmare to deal with. At least here I can afford a few casualties. Quite a few casualties, I should say. Now, luckily there's only 5 lemmings this time. Just make them all into climbers. And then make them all into builders. And this one right there is going to be a basher. And I decided to just make only the first one a late floater, so he could get a head start on these other lemmings. Probably could have bashed the platform there, but I digress. Very easy. This one takes a little bit of trial and error, but I like to use the little stripes on the pillars as a clue as to what I should do. Now for this first pillar, the ideal strat is to just have the lemmings facing the left-hand side create a bridge. Till one can make it through safely. Now, the first one to make it through safely will be the one building the way for all the other lemmings. And the second one to cross will be a blocker. But the blockers, you want to be a generous distance away from both bridges. In a position where there's still some footing to be had for the lemmings once they cross over. Because eventually we're going to have to nuke them. I will only start nuking once this lemming here starts digging. And this was very, very tricky to gauge because, again, if you're not careful enough, you could create a situation where the lemming falls to his death. Alright. Let's nuke this blocker. Now that the other lemmings are free, I'm going to have to focus on mining with this one, followed by building. And finally, either bashing or mining. I think I should, no, not bashing or mining, digging. I need to make sure there's a decent enough distance over the ledge before I turn my builder into a digger. And now we can nuke the other one. Boom! And that's it for this stage. The main sanctuary inside. And this is one of those weird ones, because you're really supposed to build bridges across these gaps. And that takes a really, really long time to do it the way the developers intend for you to do it. But because this game is has a very wonky design and detection, this is the solution. You just have to sort of fidget around with the builder lemmings. And if you must know, I'm using the blocker so I could contain all the lemmings in a particular area. And you just sort of have a fart around with the bridges until you are able to create a proper staircase out of them. Turn this guy into a blocker. That one into a builder. And you can save a ton of time doing this. The problem is you can actually run out of building blocks rather easily. Also, we don't have any bombers to select, so we're going to have to use the nuclear option. Really, you just sort of have to fidget. I'm trying to get them in a position where they don't miss the exit too, because that can actually happen. There we go. Win with one builder to spare. Once we reach the threshold, I'm going to press the nuclear option. Don't want to do it too early or you'll lose. Alright. And that is quite a fireworks display right there. Alright, let me use in the attic. Alright, so, first things first. I want to create a bit of distance between the first few lemmings because those lemmings are going to be important. This one to block. Once he turns around, this second one turns around, I build. And I'm preparing a blocker right there once he sticks out like a sore thumb. Eventually we'll prepare another blocker right there. The reason I'm preparing the blockers like this is because if they fall off the staircase from a too great a height, they'll die. So I have to be careful about that. And this is going to take quite a while. But for what it's worth, that third blocker no longer needs to be there. But the other two blockers will still need to be there a bit because once we reach the top, then I can start nuking them. And I will need to repair the bridge too. Making some slight adjustments to the bridge position so we can bash our way to the exit. Once he bashes that wall, I'm going to go back and take care of the bridge problem. Alright, now, once that horde passes this bomber, I can get rid of that guy. Same goes with this blocker. And looky here, the second builder leads the charge. And that's that. Better lemming. 80% to be saved. Alright. Immediately turn the first one to a floater, and so is the second one, but then have him start building a bridge. Now the lemmings can land safely without the need for the umbrella. Right now, I'm not really looking to bring all the lemmings out because that can absolutely clutter the screen, and it's kind of hard enough to dealing with 9 of these lemmings cluttered together like that. I have to keep my eyes out for this guy. He definitely needs to build a bridge. Now that the path is completely set for the rest of my lemmings, I can just free them up. And that's it for this stage. It takes a bit of practice, but it's not too bad. This one has some very janky strats that you can use to beat this game in this stage in under a minute. However, it involves doing things that you're not supposed to do. Like, very blatantly are not supposed to do. Now, first I want to just have this lone athletic build a bridge to the other side. Once that's taken care of, I can create another climber and give him a flotation device. Now I have to turn him into a builder so he turns his ass around, so I could do this. build a pathway for the rest of the lemmings. And I have to do the same here, so he turns his ass around. Now, I don't need to worry about turning him around because I can still use the first athletic lemming to build another bridge ahead of time, and I could clear this stage a lot faster. I do think there is some compromise here. You're not supposed to dig, bash, or mine through steel blocks, but you can't. However, sometimes the stage will expect you to do crazy shit like phase through thin strips of platform, including the bridges themselves. So, what I did a couple stages, that and doing the whole trying to mine, bash or dig through the steel blocks is insanely difficult, even if you get the basic strats right. And it's generally not worth it. This is the safe option, pure and simple. And it wasn't too bad in terms of speed, all things considered. Alright, we can only afford 2 lemmings in this stage. Now, generally the idea is to keep all the lemming safe for 1 or 2 down below, but I've got a better idea. The problem with doing that is it will take for freaking ever to get all the other lemmings to the exit. So I'm gonna save some time creating the R2 blockers at these 2 points. Downside is I can't just speed up the process quite yet. And this is where I sort of have a brain fart, as I have no idea what the hell what's going on. Well, it's simple. I got rid of the floor while bashing, because the floor is too high up. So I have to rotate between bashing and building until there's just a thin enough strip of dirt to climb up on. And now I'm in a place where I feel comfortable releasing all the other lemmings. Now I have to be careful here. See, because I'm basically doing something you're not supposed to by building a bridge to make them phase through another part of the platform, because I need my lemmings to escape. So I do think there should be, honestly, for people who are really big fans of this game, to Lemmings, if you like to come up with your definition of a perfect playthrough, besides just clearing all the levels, that'd be swell. Nuked the 2 lemmings there, and that's it for the stage. Keep step. Alright, unfortunately we have to, only one of these lemmings isn't gonna make it, and we need to contain all the other lemmings. Now, because I only need 1 lemming to do all the work, and we have to make a sacrifice, I can free all the other lemmings. Yep. Mine is the safe bet, and depending on your position, you follow that up with bashing or digging near the end. And I'm trying to position my builder in such a way where I can reach that thin strips either on top instead of the long dirt path. Why? So I can clear the stage faster. it's better than trying. So the position right where he fell is absolutely a perfect place to make a builder out of him. I think I'm at a good enough spot where I can release the other lemmings, so I'm gonna nuke the blocker. See, you're not supposed to bash, dig, or mine through the steel. But sometimes you end up doing it anyways usually because there's some other part of the platform that you can do these things to. It's confusing. Let's go to the moon. How about no? I actually looked up a world record for this stage. And this is what he did. Mine, build, mine, build, mine, build. But you don't have access to the dash command. What you're supposed to do is navigate those spider webs and then build the bridge up top on top of that steel, the top steel one, and then work your way down. But thanks to the mine build strats, I can actually create a straight path to the finish line. No questions asked. And I don't need to save every Lemming in this stage, so the blocker can go bye-bye. By the way, I've yet to figure out how to end a stage prematurely. How to end a stage early. Like, you're supposed to press A and start at the same time, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Alright, right there is where I want to make him a bomb and blow him up. However, if you want to be precise, make him a blocker. Guess what? The first Lemmings hit the water. The crystal water, I should note. But that's fine. We don't need to save both. We didn't need to save both of those Lemmings. See, I was trying to figure out how to end the stage prematurely. It just doesn't seem to want to work. I don't know why. Now we have to save all of them. We want to align the cursor right above that dark pink stripe. That way you don't end up going on top of that right triangle. Now on the top of the steps you build a bridge. And something you're gonna see me do is instead of rely solely on a single builder the whole way up, I try to gain for just a little bit of extra height. So I employ a different builder. I want to wait for the next guy. Or that kind of ended unexpectedly. I need to swap out mining for building so the Lemmings can get up there. Now I can bash my way to the finish line and I can free all the other Lemmings. Groovy. Since we have to save all the Lemmings, I'm so glad this worked out beautifully. We're about halfway done with the video already. And almost halfway done with these sets of stages as well. Yeah, a lot of those later stages in the tricky difficulty are quite short. I wanted the first Lemming to do all the work and the second Lemming act as the blocker. Now technically this is a stage where even with a blocker in tow you can still save every Lemming. I chose not to go for that. And looky here, a game for the small children, alright. I mean, look at all that blood and gore. And all the skulls. Bones, blood snakes, blood tentacles. Like, it's something almost straight out of a Lovecraftian nightmare. Wow, I barely made that. If you want to make the bridge on just a single set of bridges, you just wait till your main lemming is at the very tip of that tentacle, and then he'll be able to just barely reach the other tip. I would not recommend that. Just use another set of building. Just make another builder to ensure that you make it safely. But I'm also at the perfect position for me to reach the exits here without having to make any adjustments. After this set, I'm going to go back and nuke the blocker and free up all the other lemmings. And by the way, all 80 lemmings are already out. Where all the lemmings go? Well, there's 78 lemmings left, and I keep seeing 26, so 78 divided by 3 is 26. Therefore, all 78 of our lemmings are confined in those 3 sprites. That's kind of nifty how all that worked out, but okay. Ozone-friendly lemmings. This is a repeat of the very first stage of the game, except this time we want to nuke the first 4 lemmings. And it has to be the first 4 lemmings. Don't use the last bomb. Or else you will not be able to complete the stage. So, that's it. And you needed 4 of those bombs to go off, so that's the best we can do at that stage. Sorry. Alright, this one's kind of tricky. First I want to use a mine a lemming. And once I'm sufficiently low enough in the pool, I will convert them into a basher. Note that if you're not deep enough underneath a surface, bashing will eventually... the lemming will eventually stop bashing because you're near a ledge. On an upper ledge. I misjudged how many bombs I needed. Turns out I needed 1 more. And by the way, it's a good thing I managed my resources very well, because I can now save all the other lemmings that I need to save. I looked at a guide and it suggests that you could probably get through this just fine with just 5 lemmings. That's pretty difficult. With just nuking 4 or 5 lemmings, that's kind of difficult, so I'll take it. This time we have no blockers, so we have to gauge where to nuke each one. Right underneath the left edge of that screw up top is where you should nuke the second lemming. Pretty easy. Lots of rehashes, but with different conditions for clearing the stages. It's Oh god, it's a Sherlock Holmes pun. Alright, the first Lemmy needs to be a digger, and the second one needs to be a floater. Simply because you won't be able to trap it. Now, I'm not quite sure what the intent behind the two climbers is supposed to be. But I'm low enough and close enough to the edge, so I just nuke the digger to free up all the other lemmings, and that should be enough to clear the stage. 90%. This one is very, very difficult. However, I could max out my lemmings straight away, for what it's worth. I turn the first lemming into a climber, and then immediately after that, I turn another lemming into a basher. While I have 9 more climbing lemmings, I only have access to 1 basher, so you get just 1 chance for that to succeed. And you need to line out your cursor just a pixel left of the exit. You have your main lemming dig, and then once you're low enough, you have him build to turn his ass around so we can make him into a miner. Alright, let's see if that's low enough for the lemmings to reach the exit. Yes, it is. Now I have to be careful. I have to make sure that lemming that did the digging and mining and stuff, I have to make him into an athlete because he's gonna climb up that wall right there. So I have to also make him a floater, or else he'll die, and we need to save every single lemming in this stage. Yes, this is gonna take a while. And I wonder if there's any way to speed this up at all. Because now I have to wait for that last lemming my athlete to make its way to the exit. I can't nuke him because it's a 100% condition. Which I got. 1 way digging to freedom. Alright. So first things first. I want to turn a lemming into a blocker. Turn the first lemming into a climber, and I want to make sure there's some distance between the 2 climbers when I make them into floaters, and that lemming needs to cross that little thin strip of floor, because when we nuke them, we don't want to take the floor with them. Now we bash through a 1-way block. I want to wait for all the other lemmings to head to the right, and man, that's a lot of lemmings. Jesus fucking Christ. Alright, it looks like that's all of them. So we can nuke the other blocker. And just watch as all of these that long line of lemmings make their way safely to the exit. Just barely, too. So we need to save 25 of these 50 lemmings. Turn the first one to a blocker and a bomber. Do the same thing with this one. And we want to put some distance between the last one so we don't run the risk of having the lemmings fall to their death. And we want to turn this Lemming into a blocker. And a bomber. And we're going to get started building our little bridge. Fortunately, that wasn't supposed to happen, but I guess a freak instance of fate intervened, and I'm gonna keep building bridges so these other lemmings can make their way up here. And we need to build another bridge before we create our next blocker and bomber. And the reason for this is to ensure that we have a surface underneath so the lemmings don't fall to their death. Blocker and bomber. Turns out that's going... Even though that was a bit of a goof on my part, that will come in... That little strip on the right-hand side is gonna come in handy. See, I just created another blocker there. I didn't need to. But that blocker is actually going to allow me to contain all the other lemmings to this little area near the top. Since I only need to save 50% of the lemmings this time. Now for some reason this part gave me a bit of an issue. But at least I had enough sense to build a bridge over that little gap, or else all my other lemmings would have fallen to their deaths. Wrong way, dude. See, all the lemmings are contained up here, so I don't have to wait forever for them to turn their asses around. Now it's time for me to nuke this guy. And again, I don't know how to end this stage prematurely, so I gotta just wait that out. 90% of the lemmings need to be safe this time. First and fourth lemmings that come out need to be bombers. That way we can create a hole. And we want to make sure they build a bridge facing the left-hand side so all the lemmings go this way. We don't have any blockers. And I just let those 3 lemmings die. We don't need to save them, that's why. Takes a little bit of ingenuity here, but at least it's not too bad. But we have to come back here again later. For the boundary lines. Ooh, this one. We have to be moving really fast because we have start off at max and there's nothing we can do about it. First one has to be a basher, and unfortunately there's no way to save every lemming on the stage. There are just a good chunk of them are just gonna fall to their death. But I just need to turn one of them into a climber. Digger, and then do a builder so I could turn his ass around. And finally a miner. And if I need to, I will even bash with this lemming, so to ensure the rest of my group make their way to the exit. But I probably should have just nuked this guy. Well, I will. I have to wait for all the other ones to reach the exit, though. Just to avoid accidents. But it's faster than just waiting for him to die anyways. Tightrope City. Alright, first lemming needs to be a blocker, so is second one. I probably should have spaced the second one out a little better, but at least it shouldn't be too bad. And you want to line up the cursor above that dark pink stripe right there. It's the fourth strike towards the ledge. By the way, there is a way to save every single lemming on here, and unfortunately we can't nuke these guys. At least not the one on the right. What I did there was do the dig bash strat to free the blocker on the right. And I need to convert this guy into a basher so I could ensure safe passage. You're not required to save every lemming on the stage, but this is proof that it's possible. And oh yeah, I decided to convert a falling lemming on top of the left blocker into a digger and then a basher, so I could free him too. Very busted strats. Glad I was able to make it work, but I would recommend you space out the right blocker a little better than I did. That way it's not like a random guess as to which direction the blocker is facing. Alright, with this one, you can only save 10 lemmings. And it's maxed out, so the strat here is, you only line up the cursor right here at the bottom and turn the first lemming your cursor highlights into a floater. And then you turn 9 other lemmings towards the back into floaters. The reason we do this is to ensure a head start for this guy, as he needs to do all the work and we have no blockers. And once he touches this pillar, you need to have him bash, build, and we're going to probably mine here. There. Luckily, we only need to save 10 lemmings. Man, that track is catchy as hell. This is another one where you have to save a lemming, and luckily we only need one blocker for this. Now, because we are at 99 max no matter what, my tip is to wait till there's just one lemming falling, and then do the dig bash strat to free the blocker. Make sure it's the last lemming too. Just keep track of the percentage number versus the ones that have left the trapdoor already, and you'll be fine. With a little luck. This one is so stupid and annoying. All you have to do is have each lemming that comes out mine on this stupid one-way sign in order to turn them around. The worst part is it seems that the mining doesn't always work. Doesn't always register, so we basically have to. And I don't know if it's like you can only mine so deep before it doesn't work at all or what. But whatever. And that's the last of them. Alright, and I think there's only 3 more levels left after this. And they're all like 100% lost something? Except this one. So, blocker here. You don't need a basher here, so just turn this leading one into a builder. And I'm going to turn this guy into a blocker too, so I can manipulate the crowd control here as I fully max out my lemmings. Now, once again, instead of just using the same builder over and over again, I decided a new strat where I just want to build a little higher up. So I get a new builder earlier and earlier. That way, I can assure that all my Lemmings friends reach the exit. And we have plenty of resources. By the way, that exit is inside that big rock, giant-ass rock that we need to bash through. Yes, we are at that stage of the game where the stages start to become a bit of an asshole. But now that blocker is completely useless, we can nuke him. And we should prepare to nuke this guy too. Right here. See? The exit's right there. Alright, and now the last two levels are 100% Lemmings. So here's what you do. The second Lemming, or third Lemming if you miss him, needs to mine right here. I paused the game so I could turn the first Lemming into a builder. This is important, because our resources are so thin tight we need one Lemming to do all the work on behalf of the rest of the Lemmings. And trying to sort out which ones fit. And you know, it's basically a 50-50 crap fest as to whether or not you successfully build a bridge back up at the place that I mined previously. But once I designate this Lemming as the miner right here, that's when I'm going to focus on freeing the other Lemmings. That's the resource. Looks like I got the right one. Yes, I did. And now we just have to bask. Oh yeah, apparently that sign is one of the few things that will force the Lemmings to turn around that isn't a blocker or a brick wall. Well, maybe not a brick wall, but a wall. Some kind of barricade. Kind of interesting. Alright, we just need to wait for this whole horde of Lemmings to reach the exit, and we are in the clear. Again, we can't nuke any of them because it's 100%. And now, the final level in tricky difficulty. Don't follow me. Only the first two Lemmings in terms of distance from one another are important. The rest can be maxed out. Now, right in that place, you want to try to have the first Lemming do all the work once again, and you need to space them out from the second Lemming, or the second Lemming's gonna die. This is really a matter of precision, but I can tell you straight up, line up the cursor above the last dark pink one here. Because now, I create a little bitty ledge so all the Lemmings can land down safely and not die. And that's it for all the tricky stages, and that's it for today's episode of Perfect Playthrough Lemmings. If you like, next time we will be taking on the new difficulty setting taxing. If you like what you see here, leave a like, comment, or subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. With all out of the way, this is Mike Gordon signing out.